Chapter 13 of The Bigger Picture. Changing jobs. And so life continued for a good few years. My son Jordan was born not too long after we started going to the church. We had a naming ceremony for him a couple of years later. A lovely medium, Dennis Nelson, officiated. Jordan was blessed and given his spirit name. It was a lovely Sunday afternoon, and we were surrounded by friends and family. Jordan wasn't too impressed, however. All he wanted to do was play on the church organ. But nevertheless, I felt that Spirit had welcomed him, although I know that we didn't have to do the ceremony for that to happen. I loved the church and my ever-growing spirituality. I still had a lot to learn, but it felt as if I'd found part of me that had been missing. June and I were pootling along with church on Sunday and still coming up with mad schemes to make life sparkle a little bit more. If I thought that joining the spiritualist church was a mad idea, her idea that we take up horse riding was possibly the most stupid. I thought that's how our life would be from now onwards, but no, the universe and Spirit had other plans for me. In fact, I was told one evening during a healing session that I would leave the church and spirituality as I had a life to live, but I would return at some point in the future. I thought, load of old rubbish. I could never see me giving up the church and my spiritual quest. But a big change was certainly in store for me. I had worked at a firm of accountants since I left school, and, to be honest, it was boring. No disrespect to accountants out there. If you love what you do, then that's perfect for you. But I didn't. I fell into the job after my interview with the careers officer as I was due to leave school. Basically, I had two choices. I could either work in a bank or train to become a nurse. I chose the bank because I didn't see myself as a nurse, to be honest. The thought of messing about with sick people wasn't my dream job. But then, neither was a bank, to be fair. I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do, and I think at 16, many people don't. This was the late 1960s, and girls especially didn't have the choices that are available to them now. University just didn't come onto the agenda. My parents couldn't afford it, and I didn't want to go. I was too busy having a good social life with my mates at home. So the accountants it was. I started as an office junior and earned £8 a week. Life wasn't all dull, we had some good laughs, but the work was repetitive and boring. Then June joined the firm and injected some much-needed sparkle. I remember one day I was standing talking to one of our older members of staff, Ada, in her office. It was a hot day, and she had her window open at the bottom. Suddenly, something was being lowered from the office above. I couldn't believe my eyes and found it hard not to burst out laughing. Ada had brought a chicken from the shop during her lunch break, but because the weather was hot and her office stuffy, she had placed the plate on the windowsill to keep cool. One of the boys had been into the office while Ada was out and took the chicken, and he and June were in the office above, had tied a string round one of its legs and was lowering it down past Ada's window. She couldn't see it, but I could, and I could hear shrieks of laughter coming from the office above. I got out of there as fast as I could and flew up the stairs to rescue the chicken. I can assure you that chicken wasn't harmed in any way, and June put it back on the windowsill as soon as she could. Ada never knew what adventure her chicken had been on. Junie had a larger-than-life character. She laughed a lot and was so much fun. She lived just around the corner from me and would catch the bus to work 2 stops after me. From the minute she plunked herself down, we would start laughing, and by the time we got off in town, the whole bus was laughing along with us. We used to do a lot of crazy things together, but one of my favourites was catching the train to London to see some of her family and popping round the pie and mash shop. If you were born and raised in London, especially around the East End, then you'll know the draw of pie and mash. One morning during our office break, I was feeling more bored and fed up than usual. I started scanning through the jobs section of our local paper. I didn't really have any intention of changing my job, but just thought I'd have a look and see what was available in my small part of the world. There was a vacancy for a personnel officer at a research institute just up the road from where I live. Nowadays, it's a much grander title of Human Resources Officer, but back then it was simply personnel. The advert didn't say too much, but it sounded like the type of work I would like to do, very people-based rather than just stuck in an office counting numbers. June peered over my shoulder. "What's that then?" she asked. I pointed to the advert and she agreed it could be interesting. And why didn't I just give them a ring and ask for further details? "You've got nothing to lose," she said. "If you don't like the sound of it, you don't have to do anything else." She was right. So I phoned and they said yes, they would pop the details in the post. A couple of days later, an envelope popped through my door with not only further details, but an application form as well. As soon as Junie got on the bus that morning, I waved the envelope at her. "It's come," I said. She had a look and agreed with me that the job looked good. "Why don't you apply?" she asked. "You probably won't get an interview, so you've got really nothing to lose, have you?" I filled in the application form and posted it before I could change my mind. A few days later, I got a letter inviting me to interview. "Bloody hell, June," I said, as soon as she sat down next to me on the bus the following morning. "I've only gone and got an interview. Now what?" "Just go to the interview. You probably won't get the job, so you've got nothing to lose, have you?" I went to the interview on Wednesday morning. The more I found out about the job, the more I liked it. But, as Junie said, I probably wouldn't get the job, so I didn't think about it too much. On Friday evening, they phoned and offered me the job. They told me to think about it over the weekend, but asked if I could give them my answer by Monday. Shit. Now what? I phoned June. "They've offered me the job," I screamed down the phone. "Now what do I do?" "Oh, well, babe," she said, "you're on your own here. I can't tell you what to do." Bloody hell. There she was 1 minute telling me that it probably wouldn't come to much, and now I've got the job, she was backing out. All that makes me sound as if I don't have a mind of my own, doesn't it? But believe me, nothing could be further from the truth. I knew in my heart what I was going to do. I just needed my head to catch up. I took the job. Whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. That's unknown.